Okay, so this is a bit of an interesting one. So this is a module from a BMW 225xe BMW hybrid. It's used in quite a few different cars, this module. They use kind of different numbers of them depending on the configuration of the vehicle kind of thing. And I think there's 5 modules of this in the 225xe. So yeah, I was thinking of using this on a quad bike, but it's a bit too big. I couldn't really cut it down, and the cells are kind of glued together, and so basically it was no good for what I wanted. It's actually a failed module. You can see a kind of like little bit of burning kind of there, that blackening. It's got an issue with the weld, so it's had to be taken out of the car. Yeah, it was kind of scrap, so I just picked it up from a garage for nothing, just to see what I could do with it. So yeah, I was thinking of putting it on a quad bike. It's a bit too big, the voltage is a bit too high, so I was trying to see whether I could sort of reduce reduce the size of it. But so I sort of cut these, but the cells were all glued together, and I decided it's not going to go back together in a safe way. So it was pretty much fully charged. They're about 4 volts per cell, which is pretty full for lithium ion. So I thought I'll just discharge it down just for safety reasons, basically, just so it's dead. So I've got this little motor, and I was basically just putting the wires across a few cells and leaving it, and I started at this end, and basically sort of, as you can see, what's happened is the cells have swelled up. It's kind of hard to see in there, but they've expanded, yeah, and the pack's kind of pivoted up because of the buzz bars, which is kind of intriguing, really. It's interesting because I thought these cells had a case. So some lithium cells are like soft pouches, and you can squeeze them. Sort of, if you've seen like lipo cells with like an RC car or something like that, you'll see they're kind of just like plastic pouches. And yeah, when they swell up, you basically get rid of them. Other cells, so like in a Nissan Leaf, for example, they're a similar construction, a pouch cell. They're in like pairs usually, and then they have a thin metal case, sort of thinner than that really, just around the cell, just to hold them together, and hold them in the right place, and then they get like clamped together. And I wonder whether this case, which is quite thick to be fair, I thought it was for sort of damage protection, but I'm now thinking it's just to physically keep the cells sort of squeezed together, because obviously at a low state of charge, I mean, I was totally flattening these, taking them down to 0 volts, so it's not good for the cell anyway. But yeah, that is probably partly just to keep them compressed together. And then under normal operation, they probably won't expand too much until they sort of fail, or they, and they'll operate badly at that point, and the cell's degrading. They may expand a little bit, but then you've got that to sort of keep them in place, because you can get issues. Basically, we see it on the Leafs where the cells expand. They can either rupture a little bit, and then some of the sort of electrolytes, not liquid like a lead acid battery, but kind of pasty, sort of toothpaste or slightly runnier electrolyte kind of comes out the bottom of the cell and contacts the case, and you get a fault, insulation fault it's called, where the car knows there's a connection between the high voltage system and the case, or it can push like one of the sort of wires literally into the metal case, and you get a similar fault. So yeah, so that was probably under tension for that, so slightly unexpected. I don't really know what to do with it, to be honest, because I was going to discharge them all down and then be safe, but if I discharge them all, it's going to be about twice the size. I was slightly intrigued to work out whether a dead lithium battery is safer than a fully charged one. So like a flat one, a dead flat one, is that safer than one that's pretty fully charged? So it's got less energy, because I've done had a little bit of fun in the past. I got an old lithium cell that had actually been slightly punctured, and I just took it outside and I hammered a nail through it, basically, because it was a small cell, just from a power bank. It was a pouch cell, but from a power bank, just because if there was a fire going to happen, I wanted it to happen in a safe place, in the garden, well away from anything. And it sort of just puffed up and got a bit warm, and I was a bit disappointed, really. So I was kind of intrigued, and I sort of half had it in my mind that when this was dead, I might just hammer a nail into the side of it. But the pressing question is, should I still hammer a nail into the side of it? I could hammer a nail in here. What I really should do, just for educational purposes, obviously, is hammer a nail in here into a dead flat one, and see if it blows up. And then hammer a nail up in this side where there are like 4 volts. And that I mean, there's quite a bit of power there. They're about 1.1 kilowatt hours, I think, these modules, something like that. There's a bit of power there, and obviously if you can get one, if one goes thermal runaway, it'll take the rest with it as well, and there'll be a proper fire. But there's a nice big field that my father-in-law owns. We can stick it in the field, we can sort of wet it, you know, make sure the grass is short or whatever, put it on some blocks and things, put a lot of blocks around, and yeah, maybe have a fireworks display. I mean, maybe nothing will happen. I think the answer, I reckon, is that the dead ones, nothing will happen, because there's not enough energy contained in them to sort of burn. But then the full ones, I think, will burn, because you're short-circuiting it. It's losing all its energy all at once. That's what I think's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe let me know if you know, and then let me know whether you think I should hammer some nails in the side of it. I'm quite intrigued if I discharge a few more. This might get nice and curvy, which might be quite nice. But yeah, maybe we should do half discharge, but it might get a bit interesting at that point. Yeah, I might move it a bit further away from the house, to be fair. But yeah. All right, cool. All right, let me know your thoughts. Cheers.